Imagine a car with door handles somewhere in the bottom at knee height, and the glove compartment is barely able to hold a bank card, while the cup holder is not on the side of the seat but behind the back. Seems weird, doesn't it? Today we are going to tell you about the most expensive and luxurious car of the past 50 years. And that is the Lamborghini brand. When speaking about one of the most expensive cars in the history of mankind, we cannot but dwell on its creator's origins. Lamborghini's father is an Italian industrialist and businessman, Ferruccio Lamborghini. As often happens in such cases, Ferruccio was born in 1916 in a family of ordinary farmers. Since childhood, his father taught the boy to work on the farm, as well as instilled a love of various mechanisms. Whenever something went wrong, whether it was a simple grain crusher or a simple hand tool, Ferruccio was always right there with his father, helping him to repair it. When he was about 12, his parents noticed that the boy showed a great interest in small metal parts, skillfully assembling different stuff from them. Finding out about his son's hobbies, Ferruccio's father even set up a small workshop in one of the farm barns, equipped with all the necessary tools for constructing. That was how the boy slowly started molding various parts for work equipment. On one very ordinary day, Ferruccio was working, as usual, in the workshop. Suddenly, while casting one of the parts, a spark hit the wood floor, causing a fire in a matter of seconds. Miraculously, his father was there and quickly figured out what to do, thereby saving his farm from a massive disaster. Despite such an incident, Ferruccio did not abandon his hobby but only continued to explore it further. Upon graduation, the young man enrolled in a technical university, where he easily mastered casting and welding skills, obtaining a professional license. Without wasting a single day, he immediately got a job at the local blacksmith shop. In 1932, he became one of Ferrioli's blacksmith shop apprentices. 2 years of experience and practice allowed him to change his place of work. In 1934, he got a job in a workshop in Bologna, where he worked directly with the armed forces. It's worth noting that the guy was really passionate about his work. Along with getting paid, he also liked it. Perhaps that was the key thing. Thanks to his great passion for this job, he would later make a career out of it. Once he had made acquaintances and learned the art of blacksmithing, a year later, Ferruccio returned to his hometown of Cento. The young craftsman, together with his friend Marino Filippini, opened his own workshop there. At that time, they were only 19 years old. However, they worked together only for a short time until they were both called up for military service in 1939. Until 1943, Ferruccio worked for the army. He repaired military equipment both of domestic and foreign manufacture. This fact helped the young guy a lot since he gained considerable expertise and experience that he would never have gained at the university. In 1943, the island of Rhodes, where Ferruccio served, was invaded by the Germans. When they found out that the guy was the head of the workshop and the personal mechanic of the top brass, the Germans immediately offered him a choice: prison or death versus working as the chief mechanic for the repair of German machinery. Of course, Ferruccio chose the job. Even when the war was over and the island became part of England, the talented craftsman remained there until 1946. Thereafter, he decided to return to his homeland. He tried his best to apply any knowledge he gained at the front a real, peaceful life. When he returned to his hometown, he didn't waste a day without working, and the orders came one after another. By the end of 1947, there was not a single farming machine in his town that Ferruccio had not put his hand in. Once realizing that his expertise and hard work were in demand, he put together all his savings, borrowing some of the money from his parents, and founded Lamborghini Trattori in 1948. He worked hard at the newly formed company to simplify the lives of local farmers by providing them with a machine that would do some of the heavy work for them. Strange as it may sound, he invented the company's first vehicle in just 1 year of work. In 1949, Lamborghini Trattori produced the first tractor of its own production. The engine was derived from a military truck, while Ferruccio designed the tank and evaporator on his own. In general, almost all elements were borrowed or reworked. The first few tractors were offered to local farmers. They were so impressed with the mechanic engineer's work that within a few months, the company had already received around a dozen more orders. A year later, the number of orders for Lamborghini tractors was so high that the manufacturer did not have enough time to fulfill them. Surely the company had to evolve. Ferruccio lacked both labor and space for production and, most importantly, assembly parts. Back then, the craftsman was already 35 years old, so he made his choice thoroughly. He knew that he wanted to spend the rest of his life in machinery production, so he took a risky step. He asked his father to take out a loan from a local bank, with the entire family farm and tractor production shop as a guarantee. Yes, it was a risky business, but he felt confident. He bought 1,000 new Morris engines for future tractors using a considerable amount of money. In the first year, about 50 new machines were sold. The next year, he sold about 250 vehicles. The Lamborghini tractor was popular because of its affordable price, as well as its simplicity and quality of service. Any boy could fix it. The company developed very rapidly. In the post-war years in Italy, farm work was almost the only way to survive. The number of employees grew every year, as did the equipment, which was replaced with new and better quality machinery almost every 2 years. Up to 1960, Ferruccio successfully ran a tractor business until he decided to expand his enterprise. In the same year, he founded another profitable company, Lamborghini Trattori, developing boilers, heating, and cooling systems and servicing them. As a result, almost the whole of Italy switched from coal to gas heating. Obviously, the revenues of the two companies were extremely high. Moreover, thanks to the coordinated work of all the staff and workers, the Italian economy, destroyed during the war, started to grow gradually. At this point we come to one of the key questions: how did Ferruccio end up producing cars? It's very simple. Ferruccio was a car enthusiast despite his professional interest in the tractor business. He often improved his own cars, adding his own solutions and ideas. For example, the first car Ferruccio ever had was the Fiat 500 Topolino. But the heart of the businessman was devoted to sports cars. The first such car was the Alfa Romeo 1900 Sprint. In 1955, he decided to buy a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, but was quickly disappointed in that car and sold it. As the founder later explained, the reason for such frequent car changes was the large number of shortcomings that emerged only during driving. No matter whether it was a Ferrari or a Maserati, according to Ferruccio, no car was perfect. He had several Maserati 3500 GTs and a Jaguar E-Type at different times. Most of all, he preferred the Ferrari 350 GT of different modifications. By the way, a Ferrari inspired Ferruccio to develop his first car, or what happened in one day. After his father's death, Ferruccio's son answered the question of how the first Lamborghini car appeared. The whole thing is that one day Ferruccio came to Enzo Ferrari's factory to complain about the quality of the clutch in his Ferrari 250 GT. His father just wanted to talk to Enzo, maybe even give him a hint and help him fix the problem. To his surprise, the irascible Enzo told his father to return to where he came from and continue working with his tractors, calling him a provincial farmer. Enzo claimed Ferruccio understood nothing about sports cars and should let them alone, said Ferruccio's son in an interview. Angry and humiliated, Lamborghini returned to the factory, whereupon he disassembled the transmission in his Ferrari 250 GT with the factory foreman, discovering that the manufacturer of many parts was the same as in the Lamborghini tractors. He simply found a suitable replacement in his warehouses, and the problem was solved once reassembled. It was then that Ferruccio made a promise to give Enzo Ferrari a lesson. But Ferrari had no idea how far Ferruccio would go to punish him. Inspired by the idea of creating his own high-speed car, Ferruccio quickly realized what it should be equipped with. The engine was designed by Giotto Bizzarini, who had worked for Ferrari. The clutch was made identical to the Tractor 1, and the designer Franco Scaglione brought the idea of the body to reality. Already in 1963, Ferruccio established another company devoted to the production of cars, Automobili Ferruccio Lamborghini. His company's first car appears at the opening of the 1963 Torino Motor Show, where the first Lamborghini 350 GTV of its kind creates a furor among the public. Ferruccio immediately made it clear that his car was not designed for racing and competition. It was designed for good driving and pleasure. By the way, the car was ready for its first appearance only partially, but upon receiving a few dozen orders in May 1964, its design was finalized, thus launching a large-scale production. At the next motor show in Turin, another P400 was presented. However, Ferruccio was not satisfied with it, and by 1966, he made a new and improved version with the new name Miura. Nobody expected such a success. In just a couple of years, 764 new cars were sold. By the way, the price of the new car wasn't less than $20,000 per piece, making the car fall into the luxury category. Nevertheless, even this factor did not stop true car enthusiasts. Such sales made Lamborghini quickly overtake Ferrari, leaving it somewhere far behind. Given this success, the Lamborghini car market was gradually expanded with new models. In the early 70s, it released such models as the Lamborghini Aslero S, followed by the Jarama 400 GT, better known as a personal Ferruccio's Rolls-Royce. The range of SUVs is also supplemented by the Cheetah model, designed primarily for sale to the United States Armed Forces. However, the next successful car was the Lamborghini Countach, featuring an unusual design and guillotine-type doors. This model could reach 300 km per hour and became the first supercar in the Guinness Book of Records. The Countach model was produced until 1990. In 1979, the company launched a more advanced version of the Countach LP400S with a 455 horsepower engine and, for the first time in the brand's history, a 4-valve engine. Raising on a pedestal in automotive and tractor engineering, Ferruccio suddenly decided to step down from his leadership position. The reason was the termination of the contract for the delivery of agricultural machinery to South America. This plunged the company into crisis, and according to Ferruccio, there was only one way out. In 1972, he managed to sell part of the company's shares to René Limer and George Henry. The 1973 oil crisis once again confirmed his decision. All tractor production gradually passed into the hands of the Italian concern Same Deutsche Fahrgrab. By 1974, he sold all the shares and used the money to buy a villa in Castiglione del Lago, where he started growing grapes and making wine, just living a quiet life. There, he also made golf cars and even once assembled a car for Pope John Paul II. Since the demise of Lamborghini's father, several more models have been produced, becoming iconic in the automotive world. For example, the redesigned Countach LP400, now with 375 horsepower. Another cult model was Silhouette 2-seat coupe with a Targa-type roof, but Lamborghini could not avoid financial difficulties even with the launch of new models. Unfortunately, the cars ceased to be popular because of road problems, and interruptions in the supply of spare parts and components have affected the company's reputation. All these small troubles caused the Lamborghini company to declare bankruptcy in 1978. All the shares were put up for auction, where the Mimran brothers purchased them. A couple of years later, the company ended up in the hands of Chrysler Corporation, which led to the release of an improved model of Lamborghini Countach, called Diablo. However, even that failed to save Lamborghini from a growing number of financial problems. Once again, Lamborghini passes into new hands. This time all the shares were purchased by a big Indonesian investment group Mtek. The new CEO was Tommy Soeharto, who also failed to develop something progressive and relevant, but easily managed to add debts to the company. Unable to withstand the competitive pressure, Lamborghini once again changed its owner in 1998. Audi AG becomes the new and current owner of the controlling stake. Audi AG turned out to be the owner who managed to organize the entire Lamborghini production qualitatively and productively. It has significantly changed the design of cars, making them more versatile, modern, and stylish. Thanks to the efforts and funds invested by Audi AG, the whole Lamborghini automobile range is considered one of the symbols of luxury lifestyle worldwide today. Exclusive components are ordered specially for these cars. They come up with a unique and expensive design, which fascinates thousands of buyers worldwide. In 2001, a new model called Murcielago was released, with 400 pieces sold. The Lamborghini History Museum was inaugurated in the same year and is still open today. Everyone can discover the brand's history in the museum and even sit in every cult car. 10 years later, the Lamborghini model range was expanded with a new model, the Lamborghini Aventador, which could accelerate to 100 km per hour in just 3 seconds. Since 2014, another model, the Lamborghini Huracan, has been produced. It significantly enriches the collection of sports car enthusiasts. 3 years later, in 2017, the Lamborghini Urus SUV came out, differing from its predecessors in size and color. Many people know that Lamborghini cars are often seen in the Arab Emirates, where the police drive them while patrolling the streets. Another example is the Italian police, where Lamborghinis are used to transport donor organs. However, the most fascinating models can be seen in the Vatican, in St. Peter's Square. The police often use cars that look more like golf-class Lamborghini to chase potential criminals. After all, among the large crowd of tourists, such a car will be much more convenient and maneuverable than a supercar. To date, the Lamborghini logo has still not undergone any changes. Since 1963, the golden color of the logo demonstrates to admirers the excellence and rich tradition of the automaker. But few people know why Ferruccio chose this particular logo. This animal was chosen for a reason. According to his zodiac sign, Ferruccio Lamborghini was a Taurus, and he believed that the influence of the Taurus on the shaping of his character allowed him to achieve such success. He always broke through even those places where, as it initially seemed, all the doors were closed. It's remarkable how in just 9 years at the helm of the company, Ferruccio was able to change the automotive world and turn it completely upside down, bringing some of the expertise he gained from working in the tractor business into sports car production. Ferruccio Lamborghini managed to fulfill almost all his dreams. He wanted to be better than Enzo Ferrari in everything, and he became better. In fact, he even wanted to live longer than him. So, when Enzo Ferrari died at the age of 90, Ferruccio was firmly determined to live to 91, surpassing him once again. But life has its own rules and routines. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. Ferruccio Lamborghini died on February 20, 1993, at the age of 76, leaving behind an indelible mark in the history of automotive engineering. Since the first car under the Lamborghini brand, a total of 23 different models have been produced, including the latest, such as the Aventador Miura, which was produced in a limited edition of only 50 cars. By the way, it turned out to be a very profitable investment for true connoisseurs of this brand. In fact, every year the value of this model grows by at least a couple of million. Even in complete silence, just sitting in the cabin, you can easily feel how the car is almost noiselessly growing in price. From the very beginning, Ferruccio Lamborghini made it a rule that his cars did not race, so during his leadership the company did not produce racing cars. But already under Rossetti's leadership, the company together with BMW decided to create a car suitable for motor racing. However, Lamborghini failed to fulfill its part and the car was entirely developed by BMW's sports division. Later, it was put into production and sale as the BMW M1. In 1986 the company created the Lamborghini QVX for Group C competition. A car was built, but problems with sponsors forced it to miss the season. The QVX competed in only one non-conscription race at the Calami Johannesburg circuit in 1986, driven by Tiffany Dello. Even though the car showed quite a good result, the financing program was phased out. From 1989 to 1993 Lamborghini supplied V12 engines for Formula One cars. In 1991 Lamborghini put its own team in the races, which lasted only one season. In 2014, one of the students of Staffordshire, Mark Osler, even created a concept in memory of Ferruccio, calling it Lamborghini Ferruccio and dedicating it to the 50th anniversary of the Lamborghini car brand. Anyway, that's the amazing world of these beautiful and awesome cars. A remarkable world of Lamborghini sports cars, which was developed by an ordinary farmer's son and later by a tractor manufacturer. It is even hard to believe that if it were not for the rude words of Enzo Ferrari, if there were no problems with the clutch on Ferruccio's car, most likely the world would never have seen these cars, the benchmark of luxury, success, and beauty today. Well, probably out of habit we should add that all great things always start with small ones. Whether it's a simple desire to create something with your own hands or just words thrown to the wind. That's all for today. Let me know what you think about this amazing story in the comments and rate the video. See you soon.